Trapping.
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to the Boys Podcast, and I'm Jacob, and this is another episode where I'm doing it by myself, but it's fine. Everyone's kind of busy, so then I can kind of get the episode ready to put out soon, so, and yeah, but I'm kind of bummed about because it's a big, monumental episode. It's episode 50. Episode 50. 50 weeks we've been doing this shit, and almost a year. In like 3 weeks, in fact, it'll be a year, which is crazy to think about. Then we have a special podcast episode for the 1 year. We're gonna make it like a 2-hour event, make it something just very big and special, and just celebrate the 1 year and stuff like that. And then we'll get back to the ordeal the next following week. But anyways, as you guys know, we took the first time I talk about it, and the last time is talk about whatever. Then after the 5-minute mark, we get into the topic for this week, and then we just go from there. And it probably won't be too long since I'm by myself, and this is gonna be like an hour under hour maybe. I'm not fucking sure about myself, so I'm not sure how long I want to go with this, but yeah, I kind of want to like catch up with you guys and update you guys, because I feel like I've been too focused on like trying to be a professional with content, not actually trying to talk to you guys and just like have that one-on-one. So I'm just I'm kind of tired right now, but how have you guys been? 2023 been treating you well so far. Sorry, I'm freaking tripping over my words already. But I'm just gonna catch up with you guys. I just actually applied for a job. Believe it or not, I just filled out an application, and gotta wait for a message to come through so I can know if I'm gonna have an interview, and then have the interview happen, then wait again, and then if I don't apply, and just find out if I get applied or not. So I'll let you guys know what the job is once I get it, or if I get it. If not, then fuck. But still in school, doing all that, and I know everyone else is getting busy too. I know my girlfriend, shout out to her, she's fucking amazing. She was listening last week for the podcast, so, and we just filmed a fucking awesome video on Fall Guys. I just put that out to my main channel, so if you guys want to check it out, check the link in the description below. So that was a lot of fun, and probably plan on doing that again in the future. And I think just Hunter, Zach, and Jesse have been busy. Kirby, I know Kirby's been busy, I think he just started his new job after last week at Little Caesars, so shout out to him for that. I know when he had his job at Cables last summer, I know it's still in the podcast, we still had that job, was still like a lot for him to handle, but it's still, the podcast means so much to him as it does for me, so we just still kept on going with it, and how I'm still keeping on going with it with the circumstances of me being in Florida and whatnot. But yeah, so he's busy, just everyone's getting busy, and hopefully we can find a time to talk again and maybe play more games with the guys again and stuff like that, and taking this time out of my night to do the podcast, because this is something that I really do enjoy doing, even though there's nights when I don't want to, I don't feel like doing it, or even putting out an episode regardless, but yeah, so everyone's just been busy. What else? My 18th birthday is coming up on February 23rd. That's fun. Looking back getting my license. Hopefully I can fly out to Colorado in the spring, and hopefully for the summer too, and just go from there. Yeah, that's kind of how things are right now. Just a continuous process of just trying to improve and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. So I'll have more time when I put out a video when I just talk to the camera. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, but I'm trying to do it professionally. This is the podcast. So yeah, so I'm not sure how long I want this to be. It might not be too long, probably, since the ones that I do by myself aren't really typically that long anyway, because then it gets boring after a little bit. It's not as interesting or entertaining, I should say. But the first one I did was episode 34, on DC Comics. The last one was on Godzilla. This one, I'll let you guys know what this one's on. But this is my first time filming an episode by myself in 9 weeks, I think. Which is good because you have that gap. Because the first time it was 7, and now this time it's 9. So, you know. It's alright to do the podcast by myself every now and then. So without further ado, we'll pass the 5-minute mark. So the podcast for this week is Game of Thrones. I have Kirby, or KJ as you guys know him, write down the topics for me. Just had him write down a new list of stuff, and some stuff we might come back to for other episodes. So stay tuned for that. It's on Game of Thrones. And I don't know anything about Game of Thrones personally. I know I've had like my mom, my brother, and sister watch it a lot, and I think it's where they have a lot of this going on. So if we do show any footage of Game of Thrones, it's obviously not going to be that because don't want to get fucking demonetized. Anyways. Yeah. I drain my freaking throat. My throat sounds raspy, but it's not. It's just that my throat is a little dry. Yeah. Because I talk too much. Anyways. I don't know anything too much about Game of Thrones, but we're just gonna get right fucking into it. We're just gonna fight to the fray. Get right into it. Open Google. Game of Thrones. So we're gonna answer 5 questions here on People Also Ask. I think the first episode ever of Game of Thrones came out April 17th of 2011. So like almost 12 years ago. Damn, that's crazy. It's crazy to think that 2011 was almost 12 years ago. I was 6. Crazy. Okay, so first one is season 8 the last season of Game of Thrones? Final season of HBO's smash hit and Emmy award-winning Best Drama Series Game of Thrones, an epic story of duplicity and treachery, nobility and honor, and a clash between the living and the dead. I don't think that necessarily answers the question, but it's a response. Next one, is the Game of Thrones based on a true story? The War of the Roses. They are the real-life inspirations for House Stark and House Lannister. The names even sound alike, as well as the war fought between them and Westeros. As Martin himself made a point of mentioning, Game of Thrones is only loosely based on the War of the Roses. Okay. Third one, where can I watch Game of Thrones on Netflix? Watch streaming service is Game of Thrones on. Game of Thrones is available to watch on HBO Max. HBO Max. If you guys want to watch Game of Thrones, it's available on HBO Max. Yeah, I don't think it would move it on Netflix. I don't think they would have allowed that. Alright, where can I watch Game of Thrones full season? Right now you can watch Game of Thrones on HBO Max. You are able to stream Game of Thrones by renting or purchasing on Google Play, Amazon, Instant Video, iTunes, and Vudu. Okay. Alright, answer one last one here. Will Game of Thrones Season 9 come? The honest answer, we don't know for certain, but it's really unlikely Game of Thrones Season 9 will ever happen, but a sequel series is in the works. The HBO show ended its 8th season despite the broadcaster and George R.R. Martin's wishes. Okay. Then we're gonna go straight to YouTube. And then alright, hold on, I just received a comment. I think it was by a bot. I don't know what the hell I'm confused by that, but okay. Anyways. Alright, so let's search Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Is that it? Okay. Trying to find something that try to find something here. Trying to look. I guess what we could do, start off with, technically. Okay, here we could do 10 biggest differences between the Game of Thrones show and the books. So kind of like what we did with Harry Potter back when we did the books episode, which is like, I think like what, 10 weeks ago now. There's that, and then we could do, there's a fight scene that we can show, and there's a top 10 that we can do. I'm not sure how many stream recordings I want to do with this, because I guess I got let up to an hour. But let's just get right into it. Let's start with the show versus the books.
The Game of Thrones.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Alright. I need to pull up freaking. Hate that freaking restart itself PC here. Monitor, I should say. Whatever you want to call it. Alright, so start new screen recording. 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's get right into it. Alright.
The Game of Thrones TV show very closely follows George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire novels, but there are still tons of differences between the show and the books, especially in recent seasons. Since there's not enough time in this video to go through every change they've made, I've gone and found the 10 craziest differences between the Game of Thrones TV show and the books. There will obviously be spoilers, so don't watch this video if you're not fully caught up. Number 10. Lady Stoneheart. So the last time we saw Catelyn Stark, she wasn't having the best of days. Cat unfortunately witnesses her firstborn son being stabbed to death and then gets her throat sliced open by Black Walder. In the show, that's pretty much the end of the road for her. However, in the books, Catelyn is resurrected by Lord Beric Dondarrion, who gives his life for hers through the rite known as the Last Kiss. Catelyn's wounds only partially heal, however, leaving her mutilated and without the ability to speak. She becomes consumed with a desire for vengeance over her family's betrayal and murder. Cat thereby becomes known as Lady Stoneheart and assumes command of the Brotherhood Without Banners. While leading the Brotherhood, Stoneheart's outlaws come upon a small party led by Brienne of Tarth, who informs her that she is searching for Sansa at the behest of Jaime Lannister. Stoneheart says that Brienne has turned traitor, as she carries Oathkeeper, a Lannister sword forged from the Stark Valyrian steel blade Ice. Brienne swears she is still faithful, but Stoneheart insists that she must prove it, and says, "Take the sword and slay the Kingslayer, or be hanged for a betrayer." Brienne refuses, but just before she, Hal Hunt, and Podrick Payne are to be executed, she shouts out "sword," thereby saving their lives. Number 9. Mance Rayder. Mance Rayder's death in the series is exactly as it is in the books, except in the books, he doesn't really die. Having been burnt at the stake and put out of his misery by the mercy of Jon Snow's arrow, It later emerges in the books that the victim was not Mance Rayder at all, but rather the wildling general Rattleshirt, whom Melisandre had used magic to disguise. Mance Rayder is then instrumental in Theon's escape from the Boltons at Winterfell. Later, it is reported in a letter to Jon, purportedly from Ramsay Bolton, that Mance has been captured. Ramsay claims that Mance has been thrown in a cage which is exposed to the elements, and that the 6 spearwives that came with him have been killed and skinned. Mance is allegedly being forced to use their sewed together skins in the cage as his only source of warmth. Number 8. Ramsay and Sansa. This is one of the most obvious and certainly one of the most controversial changes from the books. In George R.R. Martin's version of events, the Lannisters pass off a Stark family friend, Jane Poole, to the Boltons as collateral for an important alliance, convincing the Boltons that Jane is actually Arya. In HBO's Game of Thrones, the only time we ever see Jane is in the series premiere. Instead, Sansa herself marries Ramsay Bolton in Season 5 as a way for Littlefinger to increase his power. Keeping with the theme of the novels, in which Ramsay holds Jane hostage and relentlessly tortures her, in the show he rapes Sansa while Theon watches on in horror. Number 7. Ramsay is way worse in the books. So I think we can all agree Ramsay was a very bad dude. He flayed his victims, murdered Roose Bolton, fed Walda and her baby to his dogs, and chopped off Theon's dick. I mean, that's pretty much the worst thing that can ever happen to a man. If your little buddy ever gets detached from your body, it's game over. Period. But despite all these things, the book version of Ramsay Bolton is an even crueler and more frightening character. In the books, Ramsay kills all of Roose Bolton's sons because they were a threat to him becoming the heir to House Bolton. He also rapes, flays, and kills the woman he hunts. If they were a good sport about it, he would flay them after they were already dead, but if they didn't give him much sport, he obviously flayed them alive. If that's not enough, the book version of Ramsay forces his wife, Jane Poole, to have sex with his dogs. Just imagine if they put that one in the show. All I know is Sansa got off real fucking easy. And finally, in addition to mutilating Theon's dick, Ramsay also cut off 4 of his toes and 3 of his fingers. Just fucking brutal. Number 6. Jojen Reed. Jojen Reed met his end on the show when a very sneaky wife stabbed him multiple times in the chest. Mira mercifully cuts his throat, and a child of the forest destroys Jojen's body to prevent any reanimation. In A Dance with Dragons, Jojen Reed survives the White attack and meets the Three-Eyed Crow, but soon after, Jojen falls into a depressed state and wants to go home to Greywater Watch. In a conversation with Bran, Mira implies that Jojen has had a green dream of his fate when he returns home. Supposedly, green dreams do not lie, and Jojen's return home means almost certain death. Number 5. Aegon Targaryen. One of the most surprising developments in A Dance with Dragons was the reveal that Aegon Targaryen was still alive. Supposedly dashed against a wall by the mountain as a baby, Aegon was secretly whisked away by Varys and placed in the hands of several trusted allies to educate him in the ways of the world, and to prepare him to reclaim the throne for House Targaryen. Not only does the presence of another Targaryen further muddy the line of succession to the Iron Throne, it also gives us a proper answer as to just what Varys and his schemes have been for all this time. It seems like it may have been one development too far for the show though, as there's no indication of the series covering it. Number 4. Shireen. This tragic sequence was one of the most buzzed about moments of Season 5, both because of the depravity of the moment, and because it's just something that hasn't happened in the books, yet. Stannis Baratheon's daughter Shireen was, in so many ways, a rare symbol of light and goodness in the Game of Thrones world. So it was especially cruel when he chose to take heed of Melisandre's warning and sacrifice her to increase his power. He burned his own daughter alive and stood by as she screamed and begged for her life. How heartless can you get? Nothing like this moment has happened in Martin's Westeros, which has fans speculating as to whether the show just released a major spoiler for future books. Number 3. Jorah Mormont. Just as in the show, Jorah is a spy for the Lannisters who was told that providing information on her whereabouts would end his exile. However, he falls in love with Daenerys, asks for her hand, and attempts to kiss her in the books. Each time she puts him off. When she learns of his betrayal, she sends him on a dangerous mission to Meereen that he survives. Daenerys is ready to forgive Jorah's espionage, but she exiles him for undermining her leadership. Like in the show, Jorah encounters Tyrion and attempts to bring him back to Daenerys to get back in her good graces. But during the journey to Meereen, they are captured and ultimately end up with the Second Sons. One final important thing to note is that there is no indication of Jorah being infected with grayscale in the books. Number 2. Tyrion's journey to Meereen. In the books, when Tyrion flees King's Landing after killing his father, he doesn't leave with Varys. He recuperates with Illyrio Mopatis as seen in the show, but he sets off from Moraine not with Varys, but with a set of traveling companions that include two named Griff and Young Griff. He later finds out that Young Griff is actually Aegon Targaryen, son of Rhaegar Targaryen, which makes him Daenerys' nephew. Tyrion convinces him to turn away from Daenerys and lead an attack with his small army on Westeros, which is a tactic Aegon later adopts, heading for the Stormlands. Number 1. Bronn. As the seasons have progressed, Bronn has become somewhat of a main character in the show. After saving Tyrion's life in the trial by combat, Bronn marries Lolly Stokeworth in an attempt to eventually inherit Castle Stokeworth, but his plans of becoming a nobleman are cut short when Jaime arrives and basically forces Bronn to help him retrieve Myrcella. This is where the show and the books differ. In the books, Bronn never gets a visit from Jaime enlisting his help. Instead, Lady Tonda Stokeworth informs Cersei that Bronn has named his wife Lolly's bastard son Tyrion, in dubious honor of his former employer. Bronn soon takes 4 knights into his household, although Sir Balman Birch tells Cersei that they are up-jumped sellswords, with not a thimbleful of chivalry to be found amongst the 4 of them. This leads Queen Cersei to fear that he is still in league with Tyrion, and causes Cersei to conspire with Bronn's good sister False Stokeworth and her husband Balman to have Bronn killed. Sir Balman then challenges Bronn to a duel, but Bronn kills Balman using dirty tactics. Claiming to be Lord Stokeworth, he expels Lady False from Castle Stokeworth. After the death of False at the hands of Qyburn, Lollys becomes the official Lady of Stokeworth, with Bronn as their lord. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned some interesting new things about the differences between the Game of Thrones books and the show. Please leave a like, please subscribe, and leave a comment telling me if you want a part 2 to this video, as I couldn't fit all the differences in this short time frame. Alright, peace!
Oh man, okay. Anyways, let's see how much time we got left in the screen recording. Can I sure we got enough? Yeah, just another minute. But yeah, so yeah, that was interesting. Oh man, crazy how things can be different compared from the shows or the books or whatever. But yeah, so anyways, but yeah, it just turns out freaking Game of Thrones is just really just one of those shows. It takes back way back when, so, and you can only imagine way back when things were a lot colder, like a lot of cold-hearted people like today didn't give a fuck, so. Yeah. Alright, so I'm not sure what else we want to do here. I'm just kind of here. It's almost done. Yeah. Alright. And okay, it's done. So I'm not sure what else we want to do. I don't know if we want to jump into another screen recording right away, or if I should take this time to promote and see how the podcast is doing. I might just do that. So last week's podcast was the first podcast in 2023. It got a little recognition, but it's better than none. The Christmas episode got a lot of recognition, considering it was reuniting with the guys. You guys seem to really enjoy the podcast when there's more of us and not just less of us. So that was fun. We put that out on Christmas Eve. That was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do a podcast again with the guys again in person in the future. And I really plan on doing that in the future, hopefully. And yeah, so but yeah, check analytics. We've gained 1 subscriber in the last 28 days, and we've gained 56 views in the last 28 days. Alright. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Again, it's better than none, so, yeah, but I'm freaking tired, and I got to get through this episode of the podcast and whatnot, so, yeah, yeah. Any hootie.
Do you wanna get close? Do you wanna get close? Baby, we can do this all night. Keep on second guessing that love. Oh no, I don't really care if you don't.
Alright, What else do we want to do?
If you don't mind, baby, we can do this all night. We can do it.
I think next we're wanting to do the Game of Thrones cutscene, right? Yeah, I think we're wanting to do that next. So let's just get right into it. Okay. Start a new screen recording. Yeah, hold on. Sorry. Jesus. Alright, so starting a screen recording. 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's get right into it. Let's get right into it.
You're going to fight that?
This is season 4.
I'm going to kill that.
Episode 4, season 8. Can't remember.
He's the biggest man I've ever seen.
Size does not matter when you are flat on your back.
Thank the gods.
In the sight of gods and men, we gather to ascertain the guilt or innocence of this man, Tyrion Lannister. May the mother grant them mercy. May the father give them such justice as they deserve. And may the warrior guide the hand of our champion.
Don't leave me alone in this world.
Never.
Seems pretty confident.
Have they told you who I am?
Some dead man.
I am the brother of Elia Martell. And you know why I've come all the way to this stinking shit pile of a city? For you? I'm going to hear you confess before you die. You raped my sister. You murdered her. You killed her children. Say it now and we can make this quick.
Damn.
Say it.
You raped her? You murdered her?
You killed her children.
You raped her! You murdered her! You killed her children!
Shit. God damn.
You raped her! You murdered her! You killed her children!
God damn.
You're dying. No, you can't die yet. You haven't confessed. Say it. Say her name. Elia Martell. You raped her. You killed her children. Elia Martell. Who gave you the order? Who gave you the order? Say her name! You raped her! You murdered her! You killed her children! Say it. Say her name. Say it!
killed her children. That I raped her. That I smashed her head into the fish.
God damn! What a fucking plot twist.
Gods have made their will
Holy
known.
shit.
Tyrion Lannister, in the name of King Tommen of the House Baratheon, first of his name, you are hereby sentenced to death.
God damn. The fuck? Whew. God damn, I need to see the comments after that shit. Hold on. Oh my god, that was an experience. Okay, well, the fact that the next big hit is a show where he almost never takes his indestructible helmet off. No Red Wedding, no Purple Wedding, no Jon Snow's death. This was the most shocking piece of all for me. The swirl of emotion, I can't even tell. Oof, that happened like so quick too, like goddamn. Just realized the moment he lost when he actually looked up in excitement and locked eyes with his wife. Even circling around the mountain was keeping his eyes on him. That one split second of look, we're finally here, my sister will be avenged, was all it took for his life to slip away. So tragic. Oh man, moral of the story, don't take your eyes off the mountain or the mountain will take the eyes off you. Well, not only that, you can never take your eyes off your opponent. Like, even in anything, either like, if it's like MMA, you know, or just anything that involves fighting, never take your eyes off that you're standing across with. You never take your eyes off. And that's what I was saying in my head too, like, you got your true confidence, but you keep looking at the people and shit like that. And you keep your eye off the prize and have his head smashed in, like, fucking, Okay, my opinion, this is the most unexpected shocking scene in the entire show. I mean, I haven't watched the show, but goddamn, I would believe that. 8 years later, and I still can't finish watching this scene in its eternity. I love how even Jamie is legitimately surprised and impressed how good Abram is. I loved Abram. He was kind, honorable, and a great father in person. He was extremely intelligent and was an incredible fighter. Sadly, in the Game of Thrones world, those qualities only ensure one's death. I was very sad when I saw his fate and horrified, but mostly due to not being able to see him on screen anymore. And the whole skull being crushed thing. Yeah, what the fuck. Ironically, the Viper had a classic bad guy death, talking and gloating when he should have been off his opponent. This was beyond a shadow of a doubt one of the most horrific death scenes of the show. With that being said, the little Barathon girl being burned alive has to be second. Hearing her screaming while being roasted is not easily forgettable. Ugh, can't imagine. Kelly is just as much a monster as Mountain. The fact that he could watch all that transpire and not even flinch, and the fact he gave Gregor the order to kill Elia and Martell and her children just shows how much a monster he is too. Abram's steel spear was the most unique I have ever seen. Dude is seriously a class warrior. Today is not the day I die, Abram Martell. The day he died. Oh my god. Okay. Damn, he loves his sister and nephew so much. All that anger blended with when he finally had their killer. So sad he got careless last second. He was level-headed enough to win easily, but got more emotional as the fight went on with his death. Gives me goosebumps every time. What hurts the most about this is that not only did we saw and knew how well it started, we also saw and knew how badly this was going to end. Abram is legitimately one of the most dynamic characters ever. What a fighter he was. I remember perfectly how I reacted to this like 6 years ago. It was so awesome to see the Viper dominate the mountain and outmaneuver him with ease, but the second Oberyn didn't kill him immediately, he wanted him to confess. I felt uneasy. I'm such a calm person, but when he got grabbed, I had to smash my fist on the table in anger and disbelief. It's crazy how like people like get like so emotionally connected to like shows like this. What an awesome shocking scene! Love the scream of shock and terror comes from the lady friend. She did a great job portraying it. After all these years, this is the most heartbreaking and brutal death. I still watch it screaming in my head. Step back, just kill him. Okay, that's the scene that struck me the most in the whole series. Not for the unexpected end and the gore, there were plenty in the show, but the shot of despair of his beloved one, seeing him being crushed apart when we fight, we risk our own life, but also the destiny of our loved ones. That's a very meaningful comment right there, and we'll end off on that, and offering the comments on that. So, but yeah, I feel like I kind of need a freaking second after watching that. God damn. Whew. I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. God damn. Oh, let me stretch. Whew. Anyways, let me get a drink of water. God damn. So much for the 50th podcast episode. God damn. So it was season 4, episode 8. The Viper versus the Mountain. That's what it was called. So Abram was called the Viper, I think. Interesting. Which makes sense. He was fast and quick there, so, and Vipers are kind of the same. Anyways, yeah, so, yeah, I'm not sure what we want to do here. Just taking a second here, because also, I don't know about you guys, but that was also a lot for me to watch there. I honestly wasn't expecting any of that from that, like literally anything from that. So, yeah, insane, bro, insane. Man, I'm just gonna sit here and take a moment, like, oh my god. But yeah, so I think I gotta get up for a second. I gotta go take a whiz. Usually I wouldn't do this one by myself since there's no one else to entertain you guys, but right now I gotta do that. So, yeah. Actually, maybe if I play something for you guys while I go do that. It's okay, I'll wait. I'll wait a little bit. I don't wanna, I don't wanna leave you guys hanging. But yeah, so. But again, I guess I'll take this time to promote, so stay tuned for a very special 1-year anniversary of the Type Boy podcast stream, 3 weeks from tonight, February 4th. It's a 2-hour event. Make sure it'll be right here on the podcast channel. Make sure to come to that when you can. It's going to be a blast. Hopefully we're going to have everybody here who's been on the podcast. Hopefully we're going to have everybody here, virtually probably. But yeah, so, and then stay tuned for that. I'm probably going to have, this is a spoiler, I'm probably going to have a special game stream for the day of, but it's going to be before, and that's on because it's Tsushima, the DLC. Director's Cut. I'm going to finish the game, and we're going to use that stream as a special for the 1-year anniversary of the podcast. So, and it'll be about close to a year since I did my last stream on Ghost of Tsushima when I beat the first game. So yeah, so stay tuned for that. Big projects coming, new content coming and stuff like that. If you guys haven't seen my main channel, make sure to hit the link in my description. We just hit 200 subscribers. Guys, got 300 subscribers by the end of the year. I feel like we can do it. And yeah, so there's not much of a goal for the podcast, just for the podcast to keep growing, basically. But yeah, I've been talking for so much, and we got like at least another 20 minutes of this shit. Sorry. Man. Okay. Hold on, checking something. Trying to decompress a little bit, because holy fucking shit. Man, but, okay. I'm gonna wait a second and then get into it. But yeah. I'm gonna wait a few more seconds until we get into it again. Yeah, we're just taking the time to promote and stuff like that. But anyway, so we're gonna do the top 10 satisfying moments in Game of Thrones. Okay, start a new screen recording. 3, 2, 1. Well, one last screen recording. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's just see if I can do it.
I can't stand the wailing of women.
One word. I hit you again.
You have to enjoy the little things in life, like watching characters you hate. Welcome to WatchMojo Thrones. We published this list. Whether they were genuine list is a spoiler alert is now in effect. Pretend you were ordered imprisonment.
Okay, this is where it starts. I think.
Number 10, Cersei's imprisonment.
You go immediately.
We're back, you guys.
You would order her to let me go. I am the queen.
From the beginning, Cersei Lannister has showed us that she's a master when it comes to playing the Game of Thrones. She's manipulative and will go to any lengths when it comes to protecting her children and destroying her enemies.
Is this meant to be your shield, Lord Stark? A piece of paper.
For the majority of the series, she eluded punishment. That is, until she's finally bested by the very man she elevated to a position of power, the eloquent but fanatical High Sparrow.
What will we find when we strip away your finery?
Watching her being dragged away like so many of her victims is practically cathartic. Sure, she eventually gets her revenge by killing them all with wildfire and torturing Septa Unella, but we'll never forget the joy of watching her get her just desserts.
My face will be the last thing you see.
Okay, I'm back.
Number 9, The Cave.
Ingrid!
I missed one.
Seven elves!
Jon Snow has been through quite a lot since leaving Winterfell, but fate finally gave him a break when he met the wildling Ygritte.
Your friends are nowhere close.
I'll find them.
Despite their opposing backgrounds, the two eventually fall for each other. The kiss they share atop the wall is definitely a sweet moment, but it just doesn't compare to when Jon breaks his vow and makes love to her in a cave. There's definitely an abundance of sex in Game of Thrones, but few of those scenes has been as sweet and emotional as this moment in the cave. The intensity of the scene and genuine chemistry between Jon and Ygritte makes the whole affair not only steamy, but also quite beautiful.
A maid. You were made.
I was a man of the Night's Watch.
Number 8, Lyanna Mormont.
You were named for my Aunt Lyanna. You said she was a great beauty. I'm sure you will be too.
I doubt it. My mother wasn't a great beauty or any other kind of beauty. She was a great warrior, though.
The breakout character from the 6th season was by far the young ruler of Bear Island. Yes, she may be a small child, but we soon learn that Lyanna Mormont has more guts than most of the Northern Lords combined, and she does not take crap from anyone.
Why should I sacrifice one more moment life for someone else's war?
She's one of the first to pledge her loyalty to Jon, but her crowning moment comes after the reclaiming of Winterfell, while she calls out all those that failed to align themselves with the Starks, only to then inspire them by proclaiming Jon Snow to be the true king in the North. For such a little girl, she sure makes one hell of an impact.
We know no king, but the king in the north whose name is Stark. I don't care if he's a bastard. Ned Stark's blood runs through his veins. He's my king, from this day until his last day.
Number 7, A Crown for a King.
Keep away from me!
Viserys, please.
Viserys Targaryen is not a good brother by any stretch of the imagination. Hiding behind his name and selling his own sister in exchange for an army, he believes that he's owed the Iron Throne as a birthright. Unfortunately, his plans come undone when Daenerys and her Dothraki husband Khal Drogo end up actually falling in love. In a drunken rage, Viserys threatens to cut out her unborn child during a celebration. This proves to be a fatal mistake, as Khal Drogo doesn't take too kindly to his threat.
Ah! No! No! You cannot touch me!
He has his Blood Riders break Viserys' arm before they hold him down and give him the crown he's always wanted, in the form of burning hot molten gold. That's gotta hurt.
A crown for king.
Number 6. Father and Son. Tywin Lannister is both a ruthless tyrant and a complete badass. We certainly respect him for his ability to command, and his unrelenting devotion to the legacy of his house.
Hold fast! Hold fast!
What are you doing? We need to attack them!
Hold fast!
However, fans will likely never forgive him for his treatment of his son Tyrion. Humiliated and verbally abused his whole life, Tyrion's breaking point comes when he realizes that his own father has not only sentenced him to death, but also turned the love of his life, Shay, against him and slept with her. As expected, Tyrion is both enraged and heartbroken by this revelation, and this ultimately leads to the father-son confrontation in a privy that would be their last. A Lannister always pays his debts.
You're no son of mine.
I am your son. I have always been your son.
Number 5. The Purple Wedding.
Good. Needs washing down.
Joffrey Baratheon will go down in history as one of television's most hated villains. Despite being so young, his sadistic nature, murderous habits, cowardice, and the abuse he inflicts on Tyrion and Sansa makes him an utterly detestable king. Season after season, fans cried out for this little bastard to bite the dust, and the creators answered in spectacular fashion. On the day of his wedding, during one of his normal tirades, the boy king succumbs to a poison known as the Strangler.
It's nothing.
While he was deserving of a much harsher death, watching the tyrant struggle to breathe, as his body is left as nothing more than a grotesque husk, is wholly satisfying. Number 4. The End of the Slave Masters. During Daenerys' visit to the city of Astapor, she's greeted by a slave master whose vocabulary mostly consists of slurs, slander, and insults towards her. And to this point as viewers, we're all under the impression that Dany has no idea what he's talking about, and that trading one of her dragons, even for an army like the Unsullied, is a huge mistake. Turns out that Daenerys Stormborn is no fool, and is able to understand the slaver the whole time due to her fluency in High Valyrian. She rewards his malicious words by letting Drogon rain fiery hell down upon him and all his cohorts. With the Masters finally dead, Dany and her new army of Unsullied march on. Number 3. Avenging the Red Wedding.
Not one of mine, are you?
No, my lord.
Walder Frey quickly established himself as one of Game of Thrones' most detestable characters after he hosted and helped organize the deaths of Robb and Catelyn Stark, not to mention Robb's pregnant wife. Vengeance for the Starks comes unexpectedly, however, as a nameless servant reveals to Frey that she's killed, carved, and baked his sons into a pie.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't easy to carve.
This revelation is quickly followed by another, when the servant girl exposes herself as none other than Arya Stark, who then proceeds to avenge her mother and brother by slicing Frey's throat open. Her killing of Trent and reclaiming of her name may be worthy of praise, but this death is particularly satisfying. Number 2. Resurrection.
Apologies for what you're about to see.
Jon Snow's murder practically broke the internet, as fans were forced to wait until season 6 to find out if their favorite bastard would eventually be brought back to life. Resurrection was always a possibility in the minds of eager fans, especially after we saw what the Red Priests could do, thanks to the power of the Lord of Light.
But not today.
At the urgency of Sir Davos, Melisandre attempts to bring the fallen Lord Commander back from the dead. Alas, the Red Woman seems to have failed, and as the episode draws to a close, we're treated to a lingering shot of John's corpse, which ends when he draws his first breath of new life. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief as John's eyes finally reopen. Before we reveal our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions.
I love you.
Number one, the death of Ramsay Bolton.
Screen recording. Oh, the screen recording just ended. It's like one last part. Maybe I do one last screen recording just because this isn't the number one thing and I don't want to miss it, not record it, so I'm going to start one last screen recording. Actually, you know what, I'll just put you on. Oh, let me put you on speaker.
Oh, am I cooking the podcast?
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, okay.
You want to say hi to the people?
I am in the podcast.
I mean, yeah, but you weren't interrupting.
You're bored.
What?
Thank God I didn't say what I was gonna say. Jesus. Don't say nothing.
I told you I was in the middle of doing it.
I thought you said you were done with it.
No, I mean, there's only a little bit of time left anyway, so it's not like there's too much.
Alright, all I did was comment with you.
No, that's fine. You can. Well, there's only like 10 minutes left. It's fine. There's only 10 minutes left. You're fine. That big. One more. Okay, anyways, you guys saw her come in for a little bit, so it's fun. Alright, Huh?
What?
Cut what out? I don't know what she's talking about, so. Either way, it's probably going on YouTube. Oh my god. Anyway, so we'll start one last screen recording. It'll just be a small one, so one last screen recording. 3, 2, 1. Alright, because I'm not sure what this last one's gonna be, but it's probably gonna be pretty satisfying.
The death of Ramsay Bolton.
I think that sounds like a wonderful idea.
You have to give credit to Ramsay. He faces some stiff competition on his way to becoming the most sadistic antagonist in Westeros. Nevertheless, we have to bestow that honor upon the bastard. He tortures and castrates Theon, abuses Sansa, has his stepmother and newborn brother fed to the hounds. The list of atrocities he's perpetrated goes on and on. Watching Jon beat his face bloody is definitely worth celebrating, as is the taking back of Winterfell. But Ramsay's ultimate fate is the cherry on top of it all.
Oh shit, that's a tickle. Looks like one anyway. Face structure.
As revenge for all the pain he put her through, Sansa unleashes Ramsay's own starving hounds on him. We all share Sansa's smile as we hear his screams of pain.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.
Okay. Alright, anyway, so that was that. I'm gonna end the screen recording right there. Alright. Anyway, so I think that's wrapping up. We got about, what, 6 minutes until we hit an hour. Yeah, I think that this was a good episode. I already, like, getting into this, I was already kind of knew like a thing or two about Game of Thrones. Like I just watched it a little bit. Like my mom, brother, and sister one time. I was young because I wasn't allowed to watch too much of it because of all the special content that's in it. No, I'm kidding, but yeah. So Game of Thrones, I feel like it's a very successful and very popular film series, or TV series or drama series, whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's very successful. Just knowing how much emotion triggering the show is to a lot of people that have dedicated their time to watching the show. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how like things like that can put an impact on people and stuff like that. Because like looking at the comments earlier from that one freaking cutscene or fight scene that was fucking brutal. Like goddamn, like it had my jaw dropping and everything. But I feel like this was a good topic to get into. Just Game of Thrones and stuff like that and whatnot, and to have that spot on the 50th episode of the podcast. So yeah, but yeah, so it's really cool. I watched like a little bit of it, like I did recognize some of the parts in this video that they put that I remember seeing. So kind of my sister wanted me to get into it a while back, but like I used to have a bad habit with sticking with shows. Like there has to be like a show that like really interests me for me to keep on watching it and watching it and watching it and whatnot, because like I can watch movies, I can like stay in touch with movies, but when it comes to like an actual like series, like episode after episode, it's hard for me to keep up with it for some reason. I'm not sure why. That's just how I am. So I feel like I'm more of an entertainer than being a person that's being entertained, if that makes sense. Since with me doing YouTube and whatnot, and doing all that stuff for you guys' entertainment and whatnot, you decided to time in right on that, huh? You want to talk a little bit to them, since because you're here, might as well. There you have it. Huh?
Love you.
Love you more. Sorry, what? I'm white. I didn't get that. What is that? Oh my god.
No, it doesn't.
What does it mean then? Is it bad? Is it bad?
No.
Then what is it? It can't be that bad for you to not say on YouTube. I think we're already demonetized, even before you got involved in videos. I think I've been demonetized a long time ago. Thanks to Hunter and Kirby and Zach. Yeah. But if you guys want to see more game videos with me here, I just put one out. We did Fall Guys. That was a blast. Even though I was raging, but it was still fun. Me here might play more games in the future. Might do another thing on Fall Guys in the future. If you guys haven't seen my main channel, make sure to hit the link in my description. Just hit 200 subscribers. Yes, to 300 by the end of 2023. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. I love you guys' continuous support. And just going to keep on continuing up on the grind. And again, the next few events coming up. 3 weeks from tonight, a 1-year anniversary episode for the podcast. It's going to be a 2-hour event. Hopefully we're going to have everyone here. Hopefully we can have Nita there, Hunter, Kirby, just, the whole squad, the whole squad. And just trying to talk and chill with you guys, and for that entire 2-hour event. So, and then coming up to that, I'm going to do another game special to help celebrate that. I'm going to play Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut DLC to finish off the game, kind of did last year with the main game. Going to do that again. So stay tuned for that. Very nervous for that, because I know the last time I did was very hectic. And then another big event coming up is my 18th birthday. I'm not sure if I want to do a special video to celebrate that. But I guess we shall see. So Yeah, that's crazy. Turning freaking 18 in about 6 weeks. So I think it would be episode 56, I think, and that'll be 18, episode 56. Yeah, that'll be towards the end of February. So yeah, that'll be freaking fun, and then hopefully by then I can hopefully fly back up to Colorado, see everyone again, make more content with you guys. I've been wanting to while I was there last time, but you know, those are the holidays, those are understandable. Everyone had their own things going on. I was just happy to be back, and hopefully I can do the same for the summer and just so on and so forth. But yeah, but we just hit an hour. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode on Game of Thrones. If you guys know anything more about Game of Thrones, let me know in the comments and stuff like that. And hopefully this episode intrigued you and maybe got you to want to watch Game of Thrones or something. I don't know, or to stay tuned for more podcast episodes, or if you got intrigued into the podcast every week. Yeah, so anyways guys, who ready to like, comment, and subscribe, stay tuned for next week's podcast. If you guys haven't already, hit the link in the description to my main channel. You'll see much more content there, and then you'll see much more content on the podcast in the future. Just a whole bunch more content coming out to you guys. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I already put out my events that are coming up, so stay tuned for those events coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially with the most recent one coming up, 3 weeks time, the 1 year anniversary of the podcast, 2-hour event. Hopefully we can have everyone there, and if you guys want to tune in for that, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to use that episode to talk about whatever we want to talk about and just hang out, you know, and hopefully you guys can be there to hang out with us. So, yeah. But yeah. I'm talking too much, I'm repeating myself. I just need to shut up and end this episode. But yeah, so yeah, again, we got to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, I put out all the events that are coming up, so stay tuned for those, and that's just about it. So yeah, we got to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, we will see you guys next week. Deuces.
Trapping.